Hey everybody, Hoang0 here, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite decks from the BT5 format, Rafflesiamon Green. So, let's get started. Starting us off, we have our key cards. One of our key cards is the new Digitama that we received in BT5, Yokomon. Yokomon is when this card is trashed due to Digimon's Digiburst, one of your Digimon gets plus 2k DP until the end of the turn. So the really important part about Yokomon is that it's one of your Digimon. It doesn't have to be the Digimon that Digibursted, it's just any of your Digimon. And there's a lot of different ways that you can Digiburst on level 3 with Terriermon Assistant, for example. You can Digiburst on 5 with Lilamon, for example, and then you can use that to bolster one of your other Mons that is, on the weaker side of things. Suddenly Grand Kuwagamon hits 13k. But yeah, definitely, not only is Yokomon very versatile in giving DP to multiple Digimon, but also it is a 2k boost, where a lot of the green Digitamas we saw previously were only 1k. Using Yokomon, suddenly Rafflesiamon hits 13k, Grand Kuwagamon hits 13k, Lilamon hits 9k, and so on and so on. So absolutely phenomenal egg. Next we have Weedmon. Weedmon is a 4-cost, 1-cost evolution, and that's an amazing stat line. Right? It's the Vegemon stat line. It has 3k DP unlike Vegemon 6, but it does have an ESS. When this card is trashed due to Digiburst, you may gain, you will gain 1 memory. And this is absolutely phenomenal because a lot of your cards do proc Digiburst, so you can just easily dump the Weedmon, and then this allows you not only to choke your opponent, but also further enable your own plays. Also, because it's a 4-1 similar to Vegemon, that does mean in the early game you're less likely to brick because you can just slam for 4 and not pass over that much memory. So really fantastic card. Also, sidebar, I love its art. Coming up next, we have Rafflesiamon herself. Rafflesiamon is a really cool Digimon. It's very unique for what it does because it's able to Digivolve over level 6s as well as level 5s, but Reflecia is different from the other green cards. It's similar to Positron Laser in the sense that when you Digiburst, you can choose one of your opponent's Digimon, and it cannot attack or block until the end of your opponent's next turn, and her other ability is Digiburst 2. All of your Digimon get plus 2k DP. So not only is she a board-wide DP booster, but also she's able to stun a mod similar to Positron Laser. So against Digimon that like on attacks, such as Lord Nightmon, Hexblow, Tactimon, or against decks like Shoutmon, who's just all about that attacking, if you're able to stun them, you can reduce how fast they're advancing their board state. Not only that, but Reflecia's 2k DP allows it to dodge very certain thresholds, such as 12k DP Digimon in the security. But because Reflecia doesn't have any resting or removal by herself, rather she stuns, this does mean that if you're against a deck or Mon specifically that has on-Digivolve effects, you can't deny that, so it can be really dangerous. For example, Slash Angemon is very hard to deal with as Reflecia. Now, we're going to talk about techs, and normally in this segment we would showcase the deck a little bit, but I'm going to move that a little towards the end because we are going to feature some gameplay in this video, which I think is really exciting for a lot of you since that is something that was widely requested. But nonetheless, as far as techs go, green is super versatile. There's a lot of different things you can do in green. You can mode change between removal, stun, as well as pressure. There are a ton of cards like Weiselin, for example, that is just huge board stun, being able to stun 2 as well as gain 2 if you have a Digimon with Digiburst, and this also works from security. Or you can opt into cards like Needle Spray, rather, that would allow you to clear the body itself rather than just stun it. Other tech cards that we can consider are Palmon BT5. Palmon from BT5 allows you not only to Nidhogg on 3 sources because Palmon would become the 4th, but also it gives you a better Hexblow matchup. It allows you to recycle your jamming Palmon or your Palmon that has plus 2k DP. You can also tech in Chaosmon, for example. Chaosmon is a Digimon with a lot of pressure. Being able to get not only an extra swing in, but also to remove an additional body is really great. And Hercules Kabuterimon is also a card that can be considered. Hercules gives you more board removal as he's able to remove bodies on his own, as he has a built-in flower cannon more or less. So there's a lot of different ways that you can build green, and this is only like a few suggestions. There's a ton of different things you can do. You can increase how many downloads or Digiswiptions you run. You can increase the amount of blockers you have with Woodmon or Cherrymon, right? There's a ton of different things that you can do. Green is such a versatile color. Next, we do have the matchups that we're going to go over. Deck building in BT5 is really hard. I'll be real with everyone. A lot of the colors in this set got huge buffs, so you have to really play around a lot of different variables in the metagame. For example, your DP threshold against decks like Shoutmon, who cares about 5k DP, Yellow, who cares about 4k DP or 8k DP, etc., and Nidhogg, who cares about 5k DP. And there's like a ton of other cards that care about this, like for example, Ultimate Flare. Ultimate Flare destroys Digimon that are level 3, so you know maybe you want to opt into cheaper level 4s to dodge Ultimate Flare, etc. Versus decks like Shoutmon, versus decks like Lord Knight Mastemon, and most decks that rely on on-hit effects, you do really well into because you're just able to stun them and prevent them from swinging, which means that they can't advance their board state. But decks such as Lord Knight Slash, purple variants that don't rely on swinging too much, like Lilith Loop for example, or decks that rely more on their Digivolve abilities rather than on attack can be very scary because you're not able to remove their body. It's rather hard outside of Lilamon, Chaos, or Needle Spray. Rather you stun them, but if you stun them, you can't deny their Digivolve effect. So do you keep that in mind? It's something to really keep an eye out for. And finally, the deck list. So we're going to go over the cards one by one because I know my deck building is not very orthodox, I would say. It's a lot different compared to a lot of other people, other content creators. I see things from a different perspective, and I do want to share that perspective with all of you guys because I think it's really interesting to see the different approaches that you can go about in building a deck in Digimon. So starting us off, the 4 Yokomon, as we mentioned before, absolutely phenomenal in the context of this deck, and one Budmon, because Budmon is a Digimon that will more often than not give the plus 1k DP because again, everything Digiburst more or less. We play 3 Goblinmon. Over all of my time playing green, I've come to understand that 2-cost vanilla is phenomenal in this deck. It allows you to not only choke on 1, and green is really excellent at choking, but it also allows you to go into all your various 1 costs and not pass the turn either if you're on 3. So that's really, really great as well. We run 2 Terriermon. Terriermon is fantastic in the yellow matchup if they haven't cleared it out yet. So versus Lord Knight Maste variant, since they lack the removal that Slash would normally offer, you're able to just stun them out of their Blinding Light, which I think is fantastic. 1 Lalamon. Lalamon is a Digimon that if we see it, we can infinitely recycle it, and if we don't see it, we're not exactly hurting. 2 Terriermon Assistant. Terriermon Assistant can be replaced with Tentomon if you really wanted. They more or less function the same way, but Terriermon Assistant is able to proc Rafflesiamon, which I think has value. It also procs Yokomon. So next we have 3 Jamming Promo Palmon. This Palmon isn't... It's good. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not like end-all be-all, and because I understand the price tag is pretty high up there. You don't actually need to run it, I feel like. I think it's just nice. It's something if you want to consider. What Promo Palmon really does enable is, you know, obviously your Grand Kuwagamon combo if you do opt into that form of the deck. But you guys have to remember, you have so many ways to gain DP in this deck now. Like for example, you can go Grand Kuwagamon Digiburst, however many, right? Get that plus 1 security attack, and then Digivolve into Rafflesiamon, and then you can just give that plus 2k DP boost, as well as the Yokomon getting plus 2k DP boost. So you have a lot of ways to gain DP in this deck now. So Grand Kuwagamon, even without jamming Palmon, is often, more than not, pretty safe. Grand Kuwagamon plus Yokomon is going to hit 13k, so he only dies to specific level 6s as well as level 7s, but, you know, level 7s aren't exactly taking up a large quantity of the deck, so... Promo Palmon has usage in allowing one of your level 3s to randomly survive. I think that's pretty cool, but again, is that super often coming up? You can argue. But yeah, I think if you have the Promo Palmon, you can definitely warrant it just for that extra safety net, but I don't think you should sweat over it, honestly. I think ST Palmon, this card is pretty interesting. Not only does it give plus 2k to your Digimon if it swings, that's something, so with Lilamon, really strong synergy. This Needle Spray as well. You can definitely work with that. The thing about ST Palmon, though, that I do want to point out is that you're not going to be swinging at bodies very often. And I do want to point that out because that means often at times it may go to waste. So if you want to swap this out for, say, Tentomon, maybe more vanillas, you know, something along the line of that, that's totally fine. But yeah. And then going into our level 4 lineup, 4 Veggie, because Vegiemon not only is a hyper consistency booster, but also it dodges Nidhogg. Being 6k means that it swings over a fair amount of bodies in the game as well, because with ST Palmon or Yokomon, he hits 8k. Weedmon is just excellent as it enables you to gain more resources for free, essentially. Like, Digiburst isn't exactly the hardest cost to fulfill in this deck, so for example, he turns Nidhogg into a 4 cost rather than a 5 cost, and I think that's pretty cool. And we have Kabuterimon. Kabuterimon is a 1-cost blocker, pretty self-explanatory, but he does lose out to decks like Shoutmon, decks like Nidhoggmon. So if you wanted to opt into Woodmon, totally acceptable. Going into level 5 spots, my level 5 slot is probably not what you would see commonly, but there's some justification for this. Excuse me. First off, downloaders. You have to have some semblance of downloaders. I think 3 is okay. I think 3 is a reasonable number, reasoning because you're going to be hiding and raising very often, and as a result, you're not going to be resolving your download too often anyway. So having some download for your Nidhogg is nice. And the reason that we have Argomon, one of, is because War Greymon has fallen out of the meta, which means that 6k DP as a threshold is no longer as potent, but also because if we're hiding and raising, then we can resolve it Argomon ESS anyway. We play 2 Lilamon. Lilamon is actually really good in this deck, but I do have logic behind why I run it at 2. So first off, you can run Lilamon at 3. I wouldn't run 4 personally. I feel like that's a bit redundant because more often than not, your opponent's going to hide in raising, which is another reason why Lilamon, I'm keeping it at 2. But Lilamon not only is able to proc your Yokomon and Weedmon, but also it's able to rest a body, which then allows you to swing over it. So I think that's really good. But because your opponent's hiding and raising more often than not, I feel like 2 Lilamon is totally fine, but I wouldn't be upset if I went to 3. But I think Piximon is really, really great. Piximon not only is an 8k swing, but also it's a 2-cost to evolve into. So if your opponent has a Memory Chamber, for example, and you're at 3, you can go 1, 2 into the 3, pass perfect memory, and that's just really, really nice. Piximon plus Needle Spray also clears almost any level 5 without any additional assistance, by the way. So that's really, really great. Piximon can also just swing at security, and more often than not, it'll probably get away with it. So Piximon's pretty thick. And if you do run Izzy Mimi, because that is a tech option that you could do, Piximon can, it can roulette into one of your 6s or, have a chance to survive because it's 8k. Going into our level 6s though, we do have the 3 Nidhogg. Nidhogg is a minimum 3 card, 3 of. I feel like in every single green deck, this card is way too good not to be running at 3, at least. It's just an insane board wipe. In tangent with Weedmon, Yokomon, you can do some pretty cool plays for sure. 3 Rafflesiamon. Rafflesiamon is a really great way to bolster your board. It has stun, so versus Lord Nightmon versus Shoutmon, you get a lot of mileage out of that kind of effect. Also, Rafflesiamon has the ability to Digivolve over another 6, so you can Digivolve over a Nidhogg that's been used up already. You can Digivolve over a Rafflesia that's trying to Digiburst again, or you can Digivolve over a Grand Kuwagamon that's already distributed its plus security attack. So there's a lot of really cool applications for Rafflesiamon. And then 2 Grand Kuwagamon. Grand Kuwagamon is a card that has a lot of pressure in green. Not only can it give a security attack plus to any of your Digimon, so in tangent with Promo Palmon, you can give that jamming and just turn, like, say, Terriermon into a lean, mean, lethal machine, but also it can just force your opponent into really bad situations because you force them to have some form of guarding, blocker rather, otherwise they're going to eat anywhere from like 3 to 4 damage within a single turn if you have extra bodies. And then we play 2 Volderarm. Because this deck is more stun style than it is removal style, right, which is what we saw in Herc, Volderarm has a lot of mileage because you lack removal in the sense that you can't get rid of bodies as easily as Herc did. So being able to destroy 2 bodies potentially is really valuable with Volderarm. And if your opponent's, say, playing Crusadermon and they pop your Volderarm, then they're going to pass you over 3 memory, so that's pretty nice. 1 HPD. HPD is really self-explanatory. It's just way too good not to be playing. It turns Volderarm into a 1 cost. It turns your Nidhoggs into a 0 cost. It's just way too good not to play. 2 Needle Spray. Now, I was really debating between Needle Spray and Weiselin. They both are excellent cards. They both have utility. But I felt like because in the context of this deck that you lack board removal, I felt like Needle Spray had a lot more application in here. But Weiselin is 100% a really fantastic card. And, if you end up running it, it's totally cool. And then we play 3 Mimi. Memory Chamber is so crucial. Being at 3 is such an important threshold every single turn that I definitely want to see this every game. And if you see 2 Mimis, then you're not exactly hurting because double Mimi is still very, very powerful. I see a lot of people say that 2 is okay. I think 2 is okay, but definitely 3 is my comfort spot. You could argue that you could run Izzy Mimi, the duo tamer that gives you 2 memory if your opponent has a rested Digimon on their board. Right, I think that's totally acceptable, but it's a relatively easy condition to play around, and the secondary effect is playing with RNG, which I'm not a fan of in a tournament setting. So, yeah, right after this, we have some gameplay footage for you guys, so stay tuned. Alright everyone, what is up? And we are here in the gameplay portion. We're gonna start trying to do this in the deck profile video, the ending of it rather, where we're just gonna go over some gameplay so you can see my decision making, so you can see like how I want to approach the game, etc. Right? So with that being said, we are playing against a very well-known member of the community, Blue Numemon. He's one of the mods on the main Digimon server. He also runs his own channel. It's like a couple attempts, I believe, so definitely go check them out. They're pretty cool. There you go. Alright, so I ended up winning the dice roll. We're gonna go first. Okay, absolutely cracked, probably. Okay, we're gonna hatch our egg. And then we have Terriermon and Palmon. We don't know what our opponent's playing, so definitely just want to play it safe here. And then we'll play our Weedmon. Weedmon is a really, really good card. Not only does it help reduce how much we break in the early game because it is a 4 cost, but... Oh, okay, let's see. My camera's lagging, it looks like, so I'm just going to turn it off for the rest of this recording. Alright, no lag here, no lag here. Okay, so it puts me to 1 with the Greymon. We're gonna draw. We do look at our hand. Judging by the setup, we may be able to assess that this is Shoutmon. All right, so we can pull out a raising. Our hand is a little bricked here, which then leads us to note that we do have a couple of rookies. So actually, we do have some liberty here because we want to start cycling, and we can bring that Weedmon out, and then I can set up this Mimi here. And what this allows us to do is it sets us up for the future plays, because we keep this Weedmon in raising, then not only are we delaying our own tempo, which feels really, really bad, but we're not advancing our board state, which I don't like at all. So we're gonna bring our Weedmon out, put it at risk of being killed, right? It's an acceptable risk. Okay. The Zeke Greymon is going to attack. Is he swinging with it though? Yep. It looks like swing. Okay. No swing. Perfect. We're gonna draw. Okay. Cool. We got Blossomon. Why are we lagging? Okay. No problem. We go to our Palmon. Draw. Okay, here, so we do have a couple of options. Definitely a lot of things that we could consider. Let's see. We could go Blasto, Digisorb. His stack is 11, but if he goes in the shout, then he could suddenly swing over. Right? I don't want to deal with that. That doesn't sound very good. Well, actually, he would crash into us if he did that. Maybe that's okay, because if he goes in the shout, then the Zeke would allow his shout to swing into us, which I am not a fan of. Definitely not. So what we could do, right, is we can tap here for Blossomon, right? Do we draw? Okay, that's another rookie. That's cool. Tap our Mimi, pull this Palmon out. Okay, the reason why we tap our Blossomon here, though, is just because I'm going to look to Nidhogg here, actually. Yep. And then... you may wonder, why did I just Nidhogg? And the reason why I just Nidhogged is because all my other plays, Shoutmon would just end up punishing us. Actually... I could have Reflecia'd and gone for the Digiburst and then stunned him. That's probably a better play. It's been so long since I played Reflecia. That's definitely the better play. This Nidhogg play isn't terrible at all. He's unable to swing into us, which I think is a really big thing. So I think it was fine either way. At the end of the day, it's still relatively the same result. But yeah, definitely should have just... This is her 2? Okay. Pixie, Nidhogg. Okay. So it does die. Yeah, definitely should have just gone for the Reflecia. I could have just stunned his Zeke, and we could have just avoided this issue entirely. That's a really big thing, is that Zeke as a... well, just Shoutmon as a deck in general is very susceptible to being stunned by Reflecia, so definitely I should have played for that, but we do see the BT1 Omnimon, which is really good information for us to obtain, because that may hint that he has Zwart. It may also hint that he has something along the lines of just Fuse. Wait, did I say Zwart? I meant to say Fuse. Okay, we're gonna hatch. Play our Palmon. We're gonna draw. Tap our Mimi. Pull this out. Okay. Man, we just don't have any rookies to work with, but going to Reflecia. We don't have any. No, we have too many rookies to work with. We have too many rookies. Far too many. Jeez. Jeez Louise. Could just. Yeah. Okay, we got a Lilamon. Okay, so that's something to work with. It's more than nothing. I could have locked him to 1, but I really value this card draw at the current moment. Yeah, I think I'm going to amass a board before we start swinging. Because with the Reflecia ability, we're able to just give our entire board that nice plus 2k. So that means all these little boys would be able to trump over some stuff. Okay, we get the Terrier Assistant. Draw into that. Another Reflecia. Pull this out. Terrier Assistant effect. Check top card. It's a green Digimon, add to our hand. Perfect. Stun this. Yoko plus 2k to Terrier. Wait, actually, yeah, that's fine. Okay. And then we can just end up going, let's see. He has no security pressure here. We put up this blocker Kabu, it's really huge. I'm just going to Rafflesiamon. Okay. Plus 2k to my entire board. I'm going to swing Raff. Okay, we dodged out because we're at 13k. Excuse me. Swing Terriermon. Terriermon is at 6. Okay, that's another shot. Terrier's dead. I'm going to swing Palmon. Okay, Palmon is also dead. Jeez, okay. Okay, wow. That was a really big security. Jeez. Jeez. Might as well just swing this, right? Excuse me. Yeah, we could just swing this. Like, I don't think there's any consequence whatsoever to that. Okay, cool. And then we just drop Terrier, go to 0. And then we just go into Kabu. Alright, sounds good. Okay, there's the Monochromon. Right, and we do have the Lilamon in our hand, so we can just suspend that blocker if nothing else happens. Okay, and we do see the Zeke Greymon. Yep. And yeah, that allows him to attack. He does swing into our Reflecia, and he does have the Yokomon that gives him enough power to swing over our Reflecia, unfortunately. But we're just going to Lila for game. Yep. Okay. So that is game 1. We did make a couple misplays because it's been a very long time since I've played this deck, but nonetheless, we were still able to pull ahead. If you noticed, Memory Tamer definitely really important there. That Memory Tamer single-handedly won me the game, and that's why we played 3. Because definitely need to see our Memory Tamers. Yeah, wow, we had a lot of rookies. Jeez, we only had 4 level 4s. I mean, no, 2 level 4s all game. That's crazy. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now that we've played 1 game of Reflecia, I think it's coming back to me now. I think it's coming back. Okay, so I should draw my hand. Ooh. Okay, we do see the Monodramon, and we do open the HBD, so that is very significant. So we have to keep that in mind. Why is that lagging? Some ping issues going on, it looks like. Okay, we're good. We're good now. Draw. Don't. It's not what you want to see. It's definitely not what you want to see. So we'll just choke him at 1. Okay, so definitely don't want to give Shoutmon of all decks too much memory to pass over, because then he could press a lot of damage into me. For sure. Hopefully, we can draw into our level 4. Oh, there. That's one of them. Okay, looks like we're just rookie rushing each other. That's not a level 4. Nope. Yeah, if we draw that level 4, we can instantly swing back into this game really easily. But definitely, we'll see what happens. This Rookie Rush approach is kind of funny, actually. Oh man, yeah, he's just getting so much value out of all these rookies. And it seems like he's also bricked on 4, but because he was able to get the first attack, that puts him like really ahead in terms of like a Rookie Rush-esque matchup, ironically. Alright. Is he gonna swing Mono Dramon? Looks, yep, there it is. Reflecia, okay. Oh, and he warped Digivolves. Oh man. Yeah, so Shaman is able to warp. That's huge. Oh, we do draw the level 4 though. That's also simultaneously huge. Oh my gosh. Guys, it's pop-off time. It's the Pixie. Alright, and then yeah, we just, well, first of all we do this. We draw. Yeah. Tap. Pull this out. No reason not to. HPD. Tap Terrier. Go into Grand Kulagamon. Draw. Yeah, that's huge. That's super huge. Ooh, okay, we could swing this Grand Kuwagamon. He would be 13k? It's pretty big. But if I do that play, then I just lose the game. Feeling lucky? It would put me ahead, but simultaneously it would put me very behind if I lost the gamble. But like entertainment value, right? Entertainment value is where the money's at. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Entertainment value! And then we just Valder. Yeah. Oh man, that was funny. The entertainment value was really strong with that one. Yeah, the only thing that would have killed my Grand Kuwaga there is Omnis. But he is playing Shout, so I wouldn't have been surprised if I did hit an Omni. But I do want to note that, oh man, double blocker, jeez. But yeah, I do want to note that Yokomon is so crazy as an egg, because as you saw, Yokomon single-handedly made Grand Kuwaga into a 13k. Like that's nuts. That's like really good. Okay, this double blocker wall though is really annoying. Really, really annoying. Do we have lethal on this turn? No, right? No, we don't. We don't. Right? Yeah. No, we don't. Yeah, so I'm gonna swing Boulder. No reason not to. Okay, hits a Zeke. It's fine. He doesn't have lethal. I don't think he can lethal us, right? So 2, 1, stream check. Yeah. Okay, he has no way to force lethal on us. But just for safe measures, what we can end up doing is that we can go into Kabu, and then we go Pal, draw, and then, oh, that's funny. And then we go into Pixie, and then lock on the one here. Yep. So basically what that did is that guarantees we can't get randomly cheesed by something. I'm not sure what he would cheese us with, but it's like, it's a safety measure. Rather be safe than sorry. And if you're wondering why I didn't do the Pixie line first into the Kabu, it's because I want to keep this in raising. I don't have any use to pulling the Palmon out, so at the end of the day, it was very indifferent to me. Okay, yeah, and that is going to be the game. I drew my egg. Wait. Whoops. Alright. Now we draw. Okay. Okay, so we pull this out. Tap. Hatch. TA. Draw. Boulder Swings. Yep. Needle Spray Monochromon. And Pixiemon for game. Alright. GG. Yeah, so as you can see, Reflecia in the Shoutmon matchup specifically is really potent, because if I remembered, I could have just stunned his Zeke and then like I wouldn't have taken any damage that game whatsoever. But Rafflesia deck in general, you may have noticed a lot of moving pieces in this. So for example, Weedmon, absolutely phenomenal as a card. It enables you to do so much. Pixiemon is really, really good. Pixiemon by itself is able to swing majority of level 5s in this game. That's also really, really great. Because this is a more control-oriented style rather than a more pressure style, Volder Arm has a lot of value in this type of deck. And yeah, overall was just really good. We saw in game 1 that Reflecia was able to pump up the entire board. Albeit we did hit really high DP Mons, but imagine if we had hit the lower end of his DP, and then a lot of our bodies would have survived, and I think that's really huge. For sure. And then also, on level 5, Pixiemon plus Lilamon is just so much value. And once again, Mimi, proven herself. Absolutely phenomenal. And this is why I'm saying, right, is that you have to play 3 Mimi, 2 to 3 Mimi, usually 3. I feel like 3 is just so good. Yeah, for sure. So thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you found this to be, you know, somewhat entertaining and somewhat educational. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.